2 men. 1 ring. And the night that changed British boxing forever. It's 2 o'clock in the morning in Manchester. 22,000 people have packed the men arena, and they are absolutely losing their minds. Outside, the streets are empty. Inside, it feels like the whole city has been squeezed into one building and set on fire. The noise is something you don't hear at boxing matches. You hear it at revolutions. And at the center of all of it stands a 25-year-old kid from Stockport who has absolutely no business being here tonight. His name is Ricky Hatton, the hitman. And in a few moments, he is going to walk into the ring and fight the most dangerous man in the world at light welterweight. Not one of the most dangerous. Not top 5. The most dangerous. The undisputed champion. The man who has unified every single belt in the division. A fighter who has beaten everybody put in front of him, who has stopped men cold, who carries the kind of punching power that makes corners throw towels before their man even hits the canvas. His name is Kostya Tszyu. And he is, by every reasonable measure, unbeatable. The bookmakers know it. The experts know it. The journalists sitting ringside tonight have already written their pieces about what Hatton did wrong, what he should have done differently, how brave he was, how he gave it everything but it just wasn't enough. They've filed the defeat before the first bell has rung because in their minds, this fight has only one ending. But nobody told Ricky Hatton that. And nobody told 22,000 people in Manchester that either. This is the story of one night. 11 rounds. The greatest upset in British boxing history, and the moment a city fell completely and totally in love with its fighter. This is Hatton versus Tszyu. And if you think you know how it ends, stay with me, because the way it ends is not something you can prepare for. Let's go back to the beginning. Ricky Hatton grew up in Hyde, a town on the edge of Manchester, and from the time he was a teenager, boxing was everything. Not just a sport. Not just a hobby. Everything. He trained obsessively. He fought in gyms that smelled like sweat and leather and ambition. He turned professional and started winning, and winning, and winning, racking up fight after fight, stoppage after stoppage, building a record that looked almost too clean to be real. He trained with Billy Graham, his longtime trainer, and they built something together, a style that was completely Hatton's own. He didn't stand back and box on the outside. He didn't wait for openings and pick his shots carefully from a distance. He came forward. Always forward. He smothered his opponents, got in close, worked the body with short hooks and uppercuts that didn't look spectacular from the outside but felt like they were fired from a nail gun. He wore people down. He took their will away. He made fighting him feel like being trapped in a room with someone who would not stop. Could not stop. Would never stop. And he had a left hook to the body that was something out of a nightmare. Short, compact, perfectly placed, landing on the liver or the ribs with a thud that could make a man buckle even if he was winning the fight on points. Hatton had stopped so many opponents with that shot that it had become his trademark, his calling card, the thing every corner warned their fighter about in the dressing room before the bell. By the time June 2005 came around, Hatton had won the IBF light welterweight title. He'd defended it. He was unbeaten. And he wanted one fight above everything else. He wanted Tszyu. Not because it was the sensible move. Not because the money was irresistible, though it was. He wanted Tszyu because Tszyu was the best. And Ricky Hatton had a very simple philosophy about what it meant to be a champion. You fight the best. That's it. That's the whole philosophy. You don't protect your record. You don't take soft defenses. You find the best man alive in your weight class, and you walk into the ring, and you see what you're made of. So he banged on Frank Warren's door until the fight got made. And when it got made, people shook their heads. Tszyu was a different level. Tszyu was from a different planet. The Russian-born Australian had been boxing since childhood, had won world titles across 2 decades, had beaten Paul Malignaggi, Zab Judah, Sharmba Mitchell, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. He was a technician and a puncher at the same time, which is the most dangerous combination that exists in boxing. He could outbox you or he could knock you out. He could make the decision round by round depending on what you gave him. And what did Ricky Hatton give everyone? The same thing. Every fight. Come forward, get inside, throw leather until it's over. Tszyu had seen that. Tszyu had studied that. And Tsyu's camp believed that when a come-forward fighter met a man with the kind of power Kostya carried, the come-forward fighter was going to get stopped. 2 in the morning. Manchester. The crowd is so loud that the broadcast team can barely hear themselves speak. The fighters get their final instructions from referee Dave Paris in the dressing room. Keep your punches on target. Punch with the upper part of the glove. If one of you goes down, go to the furthest corner. Defend yourself at all times. And then they walk to the ring. When Hatton appears, the arena goes to another level entirely. The rumble of the Great Escape fills every corner of the building and 22,000 people are on their feet and screaming, and some of them are crying before he's even climbed through the ropes because this is their man, this is their fighter, This is the kid they watched come up through the ranks, and they are here tonight for this moment, and nothing is going to stop them from believing he can pull it off. Round 1. The bell rings and Hatton doesn't wait. He has never waited in his life. He drives forward immediately, looking to close the distance, looking to get on the inside where he does his best work. And Tszyu doesn't move. Doesn't retreat. He plants his feet in the center of the ring and says, "Come on then. Let's see what you've got." They meet in the middle and it is immediately, obviously, clearly, a real fight. Not a mismatch. Not a slaughter. A fight. Hatton fires a straight jab that gets through clean and Tsyu's head moves back slightly and the crowd doesn't just cheer, they scream, a raw collective sound that bounces off the rafters and comes back down louder than it left. Hatton gets in tight and throws a left hook to the side of Tsyu's head and it lands and the crowd is electric. But Tszyu is working too. On the inside, he's landing short uppercuts that don't look like much from the outside but you can see they're getting through. He's not panicking. He's not backing up. He's absorbing Hatton's pressure and looking for his moment, waiting, always waiting, because Kostya Tszyu has been in 1,000 rooms like this one, and he knows that patience in the early rounds is worth more than aggression. Hatton wins the round. He wins it clearly. And the crowd knows it, and the crowd celebrates it, and the corner of Tszyu, the Australians and Russians who've made the trip to Manchester at 2 o'clock in the morning, they're a little quieter than they planned to be. Round 2 and Hatton doesn't change anything. Why would he? He comes forward again, the same relentless pressure, the same engine that never seems to run low. Tszyu is starting to work the jab more, snapping it out to keep Hatton honest, to try to use his range. And it's working to a degree. Every time Hatton comes in from the outside, Tszyu can catch him with that jab. But every time Hatton gets inside, on the other hand, it's Hatton's world. His uppercuts are working. The left hook is threatening. And the crowd is rising with every exchange. Hatton's trainer Billy Graham is watching from the corner with the sharp eyes of a man who has prepared for exactly this. He's told Hatton before the fight, stay close, don't give him the distance he needs, work him on the inside, break him down round by round. And Hatton is executing the game plan with a precision that is surprising people who thought he was just a brawler. He's not just brawling. He's fighting smart. He's choosing his moments. He's keeping his guard tighter than usual. Another round to Hatton. The experts at ringside are starting to shift in their seats. Round 3 and the pace is still extraordinary. Both men breathing hard but neither showing it on their faces. Hatton goes to the body, left hook, right hook, and Tszyu absorbs them and fires back immediately with a combination that catches Hatton around the head. The heads are coming close together in the clinches. Dave Paris is breaking them up regularly. There's a lot of wrestling in there, a lot of both men leaning on each other, trying to establish dominance, trying to wear the other man down. And this is where something interesting starts to happen. Tszyu is landing punches. Clean punches. Good punches. Punches that in any other venue, against any other opponent's fanbase, would draw a reaction. But in here, tonight, with 22,000 people who only have eyes and ears for one man, Tsyu's work is going almost completely unacknowledged. Everything Hatton does, whether it lands or misses, sends the crowd into hysteria. Everything Tszyu does, even his best combinations, is greeted with near silence from the majority of people in the building. It doesn't mean Tszyu isn't landing. He is. But it means Hatton is getting an extraordinary psychological boost round after round, punch after punch, and Tszyu is doing this entirely alone, in enemy territory, in the middle of the night, with virtually no crowd behind him. And still he doesn't back up. That's the thing about Kostya Tszyu that you have to understand to appreciate what is happening here. He is not a man who backs up. He is not a man who is rattled by a hostile crowd or a difficult environment. He came to Manchester at 2 o'clock in the morning knowing full well what the atmosphere would be like, and he came anyway because he is a champion and champions do not hide. He is taking everything Hatton is throwing and he is still standing in the center of the ring looking for his own shot. Round 4 and there's a slight drop in tempo. Both men have been going at an extraordinary pace and the body is starting to register that. Hatton is still coming forward but the exchanges are slightly longer, slightly more considered. Tszyu gets off a right hand that catches Hatton clean and high on the head, and Hatton's body stiffens for just a fraction of a second. Then he keeps coming. His corner tells him between rounds to keep it tight. Don't let Tszyu get the distance. Don't give him room to load up on that right hand. Stay in his chest. Make him fight your fight every single second of every single round. Hatton nods. He goes back out. He does exactly that. Round 5 and this is the round where the doubters were expecting things to change. Hatton hasn't fought many rounds in recent years. His fights don't tend to go long. Tszyu, on the other hand, is built for 12 rounds, has always trained for 12 rounds, believes that his conditioning over the later rounds is one of his great weapons. And now here we are going into territory that should, on paper, favor the champion. But Hatton isn't slowing down. If anything, he seems to be getting stronger. Or at least he's hiding any tiredness better than anyone expected. He's still pressing, still working the body, still getting on the inside and throwing combinations that are doing real damage. And Tszyu is starting to look slightly less fresh than he did in round 1. Nothing dramatic. Nothing that would stop the fight. But something you can see if you're looking closely. The breathing is just a little more labored. The head movement is just a fraction slower. Round 5 goes to Hatton again, and the scorecards are starting to look lopsided in a way that nobody predicted. Round 6 now, and this is a significant moment. This is the round where Tszyu stopped Jesse James Leija in this very arena, in this very championship, back in 2003. Same building. Same round. Leija went down and didn't get up. And Tsyu's people remember that. They're watching, waiting, hoping that round 6 brings the same explosion. It doesn't. Instead, Hatton comes out for round 6 looking like he's running for a bus. Forward, forward, always forward, head movement, working the jab, cracking Tszyu with a straight right hand that actually snaps the champion's head back in a way we haven't quite seen before. The crowd reacts like they've just witnessed a miracle. Tszyu comes back with a good combination, catches Hatton with that straight right that the Hatton camp was most worried about coming into the fight, and Hatton's head pops up for just a moment. He keeps coming. That punch would have stopped most men. Or at least made them reconsider. But Hatton doesn't reconsider. He's inside again immediately, throwing, pressing, working. The crowd is deafening. 6 rounds gone and Hatton is not just surviving. He's winning. Round 7 and something frightening happens. Tszyu lands a body shot. A good one, down low, right on the borderline. Hatton goes down to one knee. The Australians in the crowd explode. They're out of their seats. The roar changes completely because now it's Tsyu's crowd making the noise, and for just a second the whole momentum of the night seems to shift. But Dave Paris is looking closely. He waves it off. Low blow. No knockdown. Hatton gets up slowly, and when he turns to face Tszyu again, the expression on his face is not fear. It's not pain. It's something closer to relief, the look of a man who has just found out that the worst thing he was afraid of happened, and he survived it, and now he can get back to work. He's gone down only once before in his professional career. And McGee put him on the canvas years ago. He got up from that and won. He got up from this and kept coming. The Tszyu corner thought they had him. They didn't. And Hatton moving forward after going down, not mumbling, not complaining about the low blow, just getting on with it. That moment tells you more about who Ricky Hatton is than anything else in this fight. Round 8 and the arena is doing things that arenas aren't supposed to do. The noise level is building round by round instead of dropping off the way it usually does as a fight goes on. People are louder in round 8 than they were in round 1 because they can feel something happening, something shifting, something that might be unthinkable becoming thinkable, and they are pouring everything they have into willing this man forward. Hatton is backing Tszyu onto the ropes. Let that sink in. Ricky Hatton, the challenger, the underdog, the man nobody gave a chance, is backing the undisputed champion of the world onto the ropes. Tszyu comes back with combinations. He's not broken. He's not done. But he's on the back foot in a way that he has rarely been in his career, and the body shots are stacking up and the left hooks are stacking up, and every time he tries to create distance, Hatton closes it immediately. Steve Collins, the former world champion, is standing at ringside. He's on his feet. He's screaming. He's not screaming for Tszyu. He's screaming for Hatton. And when former champions start screaming for the underdog in the late rounds, you know something historic is happening. Round 9. 66 professional rounds for Ricky Hatton coming into this fight. 9 for Kostya Tszyu over the past 2 years. And Hatton keeps throwing. Left hook. Right hand. Uppercut. Body shot. The combinations are coming in waves and the crowd is responding to each one like it might be the one that ends it. Under 30 seconds in the round. Hatton drives Tszyu to the ropes again and unloads, and Tszyu holds on and Paris breaks them and the bell goes and both men go to their corners. Round 10 and Hatton comes out and keeps doing what he's been doing for 9 rounds. The crowd is at a level of intensity now that is beyond crowd noise. It's something more physical than that. It's vibration. It's pressure in your ears. It's the feeling of being inside something much larger than yourself. Tszyu is still there. Still fighting. Every time Hatton hurts him he comes back. A right hand from Tszyu finds the mark and Hatton's head rocks, and you can see for a moment that the challenger is feeling it too. This is a fight, not an execution. But Hatton absorbs it, and responds immediately with a left hook that drives Tszyu back, and the crowd is screaming and neither man is stopping, and this is boxing at its absolute purest. 2 people with nothing left to hide behind, no tactics to fall back on, just heart and will and the decision to keep going. Going into the final round, Hatton's corner tells him, you can't rest inside. Don't smother. Keep throwing punches. No matter how tired you are. Keep throwing. He does. Round 11. Hatton comes forward one more time. Tszyu is on the ropes and Hatton is throwing everything, the left hook to the body, the uppercut, the right hand combinations that have been working all night long, and Tszyu is absorbing them, but the absorbing is getting harder. His legs are heavier than they were in round 1. His hands are slower. And the punches Hatton is landing are real punches, meaningful punches, punches that are taking something away with each one that lands. And then it happens. Not a knockdown. Not a referee stoppage. Something that almost never happens in championship boxing at this level. Tsyu's corner throws in the towel. They have seen enough. Their man is taking too much. The champion cannot continue. And before round 11 can reach its end, before Ricky Hatton has to fight another second, it is over. The referee waves it off. And the men arena explodes. 22,000 people are not cheering. They're not applauding. They're doing something that doesn't have a word for it. A collective release of everything they've been holding in for 11 rounds. All the hope and the fear and the disbelief and the joy, all of it coming out at once in a sound that will rattle around that building for years. Ricky Hatton collapses. The tears come immediately. Not the composed tears of a man who has just achieved something he expected. The uncontrollable tears of a man who has done something he dared to dream but was never completely sure he could. His trainer Billy Graham holds him. The team swarms around him. The crowd is still screaming. His mother Carol is in the crowd. She spent most of the fight with her hands over her face, barely able to watch, her son in the ring against the most dangerous man in the division. She is crying now. His father Ray is fighting through the crowd to get to him, arms open, face wet. Ricky Hatton is the IBF light welterweight champion of the world. He is 25 years old. He is from Stockport. He walked into a fight that every expert told him he would lose, against the most complete champion in his weight class, in front of 22,000 of his own people, at 2 o'clock in the morning, and he did not just survive, he dominated. He pushed the undisputed champion back round after round. He won the fight cleanly, clearly, beyond argument, to the point where Tsyu's own corner decided they had seen enough. In the weeks and months and years that followed, people would talk about this night the way people talk about nights that changed things. Not just in boxing. In sport. The night Ricky Hatton walked into the impossible and walked back out holding the belt. Kostya Tszyu, for his part, never fought again. This was his last professional fight. If you are going to have your last fight, have it like this, going all the way to round 11, refusing to quit, making every single round a battle, making your opponent earn every punch he landed. Tszyu left the sport with his dignity completely intact. But tonight belongs to Hatton. This is what sport is for. Not for the certainties. Not for the fights where you already know the ending. For the moments when someone stands in front of the impossible and decides that the impossible is wrong. For the nights when a city holds its breath and a fighter carries every single one of them on his back and doesn't stop and doesn't fall and doesn't quit. Ricky Hatton carried Manchester that night. He carried every person in that arena and every person watching at home and every person who was too nervous to watch and went to sleep early and woke up to find out what happened. He told the world something very simple. He told them, "I told you so." And 22,000 people in Manchester, still screaming, still crying, still shaking, agreed with every single word.